More people in their 60s and 70s are staying in the workforce much longer, much more than they did in previous generations. Why is that? Well, today we're going to dive into the real reasons that retirees keep showing up for work. Welcome into Perfect Game Retirement. Glad to have you on the show. Ben George with Ryan Ledden at Black Oak Asset Management. And Ryan, I mean, this is a topic I think will resonate with a lot of people, especially getting close to retirement. I know it resonates with you because you talked about it multiple times here. You don't plan on stopping working just because you hit a certain age, right? This is something you love to do every day, and you're going to keep going. Not everybody feels that same way. They love their job so much they keep working, but more and more people are staying in the workforce for many years past that retirement age.
Yeah, I mean the social interactions is a real deal, but yeah. So like in my situation, I'm maybe in a different situation than most. I mean, I own my own business, so as long as I can, mentally do this job, I'll probably continue and do it until I just can't anymore because I like coming here every day. I like bouncing ideas off my other advisors and my team. So again, I'm in a little different situation I can kind of control, or maybe if I get burnt out one day and then I sell the business, that's not my anticipation. But you just never know what things like that are going to happen. But I mean, once my kids are gone and, I couldn't imagine just going home, and of course I'd figure something out, but I'm not a big hobby guy. I don't have a ton of hobbies that I do. I enjoy my kids' sports and going to those things and watching football or whatever it may be, but I'm not like a big golfer or anything like that. So my work and what my kids and my family do is kind of the main priority for me. So maybe in a little different situation, but others may not be able to control that.
Yeah. And there are a lot of reasons why this happens and why retirees stay in the workforce. We're going to talk about these today. These are some things that maybe you're going to be dealing with or thinking about as you get close to retirement, and some things you should consider as you consider whether or not you need to work, whether you want to work in retirement. But let's start with the social connections, Ryan. You mentioned a little bit. There's a lot of social interactions that happen at work. I mean, we're there for the majority of the days, every single day, right? We build up a lot of social interaction. And when you remove that, all of a sudden you're longing for that in retirement if you don't have something in place around you.
Yeah, and a lot of times when we do financial plans for people, we dig into that because a lot of times the math, people are able to retire because of the math works out, their financial plan works out, their income works out. But it is a big difference from a social interaction standpoint. You go from potentially being a kind of quote unquote go-to person who always gets calls, who always gets emails. Now, maybe that's what you're getting away from, but it is different when all of a sudden, you flipped a switch and all that stuff stops. And I've seen that with a bunch of our clients. I've seen that with my dad who worked and was in upper level management. And the same thing, it just kind of stops and it just goes away. So some people really struggle with that from a psychological and a mental standpoint. That's difficult. You're quote unquote important, and then not that you're not important, but you certainly feel less important. So reducing the social interactions is a absolute real thing. Now, if you couple that, if you're a single person or you lose a spouse, which again happened to my dad when my mom passed away, and then he goes into retirement and it's just him. You don't walk a day in their shoes, so you don't know what kind of loneliness that is. So it's a real thing. So we want to make sure we prepare people for that, to really know that, hey, these social interactions are going to go down. Now, if you have a plan for that, if you're in a golf group or you're part of a church group or whatever it may be, maybe you have a close friend group, that's great. But for some people, they don't have that. So it's something to prepare for and something to certainly think about.
Yeah, the social connections. If you haven't had a conversation with your advisor about what your plans are beyond the money, this is a big one that you need to prioritize because it keeps a lot of people at work longer than they anticipated. All right, second one, money worries. The psychology of stepping away from a paycheck, Ryan, is one that weighs on a lot of people. So how do you help work with your clients at Black Oak to try to overcome that worry about, hey, do I have enough money to actually leave work?
Yeah, I mean, obviously this centers around the financial plan, the software that we use, the scenarios that we run, the different income structures, when you claim Social Security, if you do have a pension, how does that kind of fall into place? What types of accounts do you have? Are they, pre-tax, after tax, tax free? So much goes into that, and then we run different scenarios based off of markets being average, being good, being below average. So we want to set the stage for that, so you have a good idea of what to potentially expect. I'm not a glass half empty type of guy, but you need to prepare for that. It could potentially happen. We don't know what the future holds with that. So but it's a mind shift. It's a mind change where you no longer are receiving a paycheck. And sometimes that scares people, that grips people with fear, knowing that their paycheck is now from everything that they have saved or put into, again, whether that's a pension or Social Security or your investments. So now it's just flipping the switch. So, we let clients know that, hey, if it's out of your investment accounts that you need that money, like, we can set that up. We can set it up where you're getting a distribution once a month. We can get it set up where you're getting it bi-weekly or bi-monthly, just to keep that same cadence that you were maybe used to when you were working. So again, it's a shift. It's a little bit of a worry, just going, I'm not going to be receiving a paycheck, or maybe I'm not employable anymore because of my age. So we just have to set the stage that, mentally, that we're going to take care of them based off of what they've saved. Again, but it all stems on the plan. Like, if the plan doesn't work, we may have to find alternatives. So whether that's saving more, working longer, or living on less, those are basically your three solutions of what's going to happen. So yeah, money worries is a real thing, because that paycheck essentially stops. It's just the paycheck's coming from different sources now.
Yeah. And if you don't have that plan in place, you're getting close to retirement, you can go to speakwithryan.com to actually schedule the time to sit down, a complimentary conversation with Ryan, to begin talking about, hey, what are your concerns? What are your worries? What's the planning process look like moving forward? All that can be done. Just go to speakwithryan.com. All right, a couple more here as we're talking about, reasons why people will continue to work longer than they have before. Sometimes, Ryan, you just want to avoid that change at home, right? I mean, look, you've been going to the office for decades and decades, and you don't really want to shake it up so quickly because, hey, all of a sudden you're with your spouse every single day, all day. It's a big shift for a lot of people. So maybe I'm going to stay in the office a little bit longer and just kind of gradually shift away from work.
Yeah, I mean, most of our married couples that we work with, this is one of the first things they joke about, but there's usually meaning in a lot of jokes sometimes too. Maybe not full meaning, but there is a layer of meaning in there. And they say the same thing. They kind of look at each other like, I don't want to see this person all day long, and and pass them in the hall all day. What are we going to talk about? What are we going to do? Again, it's joking, but it's kind of a real thing. I kind of mentioned my dad previously. He goes from being by himself, but then people joke like, I don't necessarily want to be with that person all day long too. So, having your alone time, all of us need it. 1000%, all of us need it. Whether it's male, female, we all need our alone time. We all need to have our girls trip or guys trip, or, being able to hang out with individuals in our peer group. So it's a real thing. You definitely don't want to just be sitting around. Now, most people don't when they first retire. They usually have plans. They have things to do. One of the most common statements I hear from most of our clients is, I'm busier in retirement than when I was working. Yeah, I see what people mean by that. You're just kind of doing things that you may have put off. I don't know if you're necessarily more busy, but you do probably have a lot of things kind of laid out where, hey, I didn't have time to do that before. But usually when people are really busy, those are the ones who get things done anyways. I tell people, if you want to get something done, ask a busy person to do it, because they will find a way to squeeze it in and get it done. So it's just different time allocations, different social interactions, whether it's peer groups or your spouse. So just be aware and have some things planned where you guys are separate from one another to keep your sanity too.
Yeah. All right. The last one here, Ryan, this a little bit ties into the planning we talked about just a few minutes ago. But, another reason why people decide, hey, I don't want to quite retire yet, is they have doubts about their plan, right? I mean, they've been working so hard. They've been pushing towards retirement, and they're ready to get there. But taking that leap is very difficult because they just aren't quite sure that their plan is going to hold up. Again, this is a lot of times people kind of doing it on their own. But how, again, kind of reaffirming, like, hey, how do you work with people to make sure that they see and have a clear vision of, hey, this plan is going to work?
Yeah, I mean, that does happen a good bit for people who are doing it on their own. Not to say that people can't do it on their own and be successful with it. There's some financial planning software that people can can download, but then, are you pushing the right buttons? Are you running the right scenarios? And maybe you are, maybe you're not. So that's why we try to give people, our clients that we work with, different scenarios. Again, very poor case scenario, kind of average-ish scenario, and then, hey, pie in the sky, if things work out really well, markets do well, here's what you could actually have. But usually I take that scenario away pretty quick. Like, hey, this could be, but we're not going to count on that. We're not retiring on that really, really good scenario. Again, not a glass half empty, but as someone's advisor, I need to prepare for those things. So, and we'll make adjustments along the way. That's the cool thing about a plan, but also the downside of a plan is we'll give it to them. We're like, hey, here's your plan. Here's how things can work out, but it's going to change. It's not going to work out exactly like this. That's why we run the different scenarios. So hopefully running those different scenarios takes away that doubt, and it kind of allows you to focus a little bit more and hopefully less doubt and better focus on your plan. So again, running those different scenarios is hopefully super helpful. Again, people who don't have a plan, that's 1000% where the doubt creeps in. If you don't have a map, a roadmap laid out, then it's going to cause stress. Now, do you have like just crazy amounts of money that this thing will just last and you don't need a planner? Well, maybe, but then what kind of legacy are you gonna leave? What kind of taxes are you paying? So there's always more efficient ways to do it. And so I think working with someone will relieve some of those doubts, and again, have better focus on a plan and just a better focus on things you want to focus on in retirement as opposed to what your money situation is.
Yeah. And if you don't have someone you're working with yet, again, Black Oak Asset Management can help you with that. Speak with Ryan.com. Ryan is a certified financial planner, the president of Black Oak Asset Management. And again, working longer isn't necessarily the wrong call. Sometimes it's exactly what you need to be doing, but you want to make sure that's a choice and not just a fallback plan, right? That's worth figuring out before you assume that you know the answer. And that's what Black Oak can help you with. All right. Hopefully this answers a few of your questions, give you some things to think about if you're getting close to retirement. But as always, rely on a financial professional to help you out. And we'll talk more right here on Perfect Game Retirement.